Sponsored by Bangchak, Sustainable Business Development in Harmony with the Environment and Society.
Today in Towards 2015, we'll be looking into the commercial sector of the property market in Thailand, as well as the prospects of the market and region ahead of the AEC with Marcus Burtenshaw.
He is the head director of the commercial Knight Frank Thailand, an internationally reputable professional real estate service provider and property consultant, which has been a key service provider in Thailand's property market since 1998.
First of all, could you please tell us about your company, Knight Frank?
Yeah, sure. Knight Frank's one of the world's largest private property consultancy and agencies. We were founded in London in 1896. Now we've got offices in 43 countries around the world and have been here in Thailand since 1997.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been with the company?
I've been with the company for a little over 9 years, but I've been in Thailand now since 1997 myself. And you've seen quite a few changes over the years, as you might imagine.
Okay, and what is your expertise in your company?
I am in charge of corporate real estate. So I have two divisions reporting to me with the office and industrial sales and leasing.
Okay, talking about property market in terms of commercial sector, how has the demand been in Thailand?
I think you have to look at it in sector by sector. Overall, it's been pretty good. But if we look at the office market, it's been in the doldrums for the last 6 years. The political instability, which occurred back in 2006, pretty much wiped out confidence in terms of the business community. Firms were very reluctant to bring on new sales team and to expand their presence. And as such, demand went from about 200,000 square meters a year down to about 50,000 square meters a year or less. So it's been quite tough for that market to recover. What we have seen, though, over the last year, since the elections, now that the political landscape seems to be a little bit more stable.
A little bit more? Okay.
Certainly a little bit. Firms, that confidence has come back into firms. People are now a little bit more willing now to expand sales teams and to look at new projects which were had previously put on hold in the past. So we've seen demand slowly start to recover. So there's a little bit more life back in the office sector. On the manufacturing side, for instance, though, the demand's actually been strong throughout for the same period. Certainly over the last year, even though there's been, of course, catastrophic floods back in 2011 last year, we're still seeing quite a lot of new demand. BOI applications are up, and the value of BOI applications are up substantially over the last 12 months.
Okay, but we have seen, talking about manufacturing sector, we have seen so many factories already here in Thailand. But what about the supply? I mean, is it still enough, the supply?
Sure. Typically on the manufacturing side, what happens is that people are, especially the newcomers, it's more looking at greenfield development. So they are going into industrial estates. Industrial estates in Thailand, most of them tend to have an active land acquisition policy, so their estates are expanding, so they're able to meet new supply as demand increases. So there's a nice sort of balance between supply and demand for land, etc., for greenfield development sites. And for those ready-built factories, again, because there's so much abundant land available, they're able to build factories to meet demand as it comes through. So it's a good balance.
Okay, so we see the location of Chonburi and Eastern Seaboard has now been developed into manufacturing, all about manufacturing. And has there been any new market, any new land that the investors are interested in buying or renting?
Well, I think that that area has become very much a focus of new manufacturers. When they're actually looking for a new location. What we previously saw, dependent upon sector, the electronics sector, for example, used to go out towards the Utia, and since the floods, that has shifted. So demand is now centred towards what we call the dry zones, or the areas which didn't flood last year. So certainly provinces like Chachoengsao and Rayong and Chonburi have seen a lot of demand. But locations like Prachimbury and Saraburi have also seen quite a substantial amount of new demand come in. they're perhaps not the more sort of traditional industrial locations, although there are a couple of well-known industrial estates there. But because there's perhaps less competition for labour and less competition for land, they're being a real challenge to the estates which are in those flooded locations of Ayutthaya and Pathum Thani to the north of Bangkok.
Okay. And who are the buyers who are interested in buying or renting property in Thailand?
From
where?
From different markets. Well, Japanese are by far and away the largest investors in Thailand in the manufacturing scene. After that, it's ASEAN members itself.
ASEAN members itself?
Yeah, it's. I think it's probably perhaps one of the things which quite surprising to many people. ASEAN itself has actually become one of its most important trading partners. For Thailand and as well as for other countries. Then they've been usual suspects of USA and Europe to a lesser degree now, but Australia as well.
Okay. What about the US or?
Yeah, the US, like I said, it's probably like remains very important, and there's still quite a significant amount of demand coming from there. But there's at moment there's more inquiries, there's more active inquiries from ASEAN itself and from countries like Australia, which have not been affected by the financial crisis which is spreading throughout the West.
When you mentioned about ASEAN, you mean which country in ASEAN?
Well, Malaysia, Singapore, but primarily. We're seeing some from Indonesia, but not so much. But they tend to be focused more on their own market right now. But they certainly from Malaysia and Singapore.
What are they interested in? In where?
They are expanding their manufacturing sites. They are setting up new offices of service companies of various types. So they're looking at manufacturing facilities, and they'll be putting those wherever it makes sense for the individual firms and individual industries. So firms tend to want to put their factories next to existing clusters where they have supply chains which meet their own specific requirements. So automotive down towards the eastern seaboard in that type of area, and electronics closer to Bangkok where there's more sort of institutes for higher education.
Okay, and investors are from over the world who are interested in Thailand, and what are their concerns in probably doing business in Thailand? Okay,
well probably the first and foremost concern which people have right now, especially when they're looking at manufacturing facilities, is the natural disasters which happened last year. So that's one concern. It's not a concern which is enough to put them off investing in Thailand. They simply go to areas which didn't flood, as I mentioned before. But English language skills is very important, and I think that will continue to be a factor which is always going to be in people's minds.
What should the Thai government do, in terms of increasing the confidence for investors?
Wow, that's a very big question. It's the Board of Investments is an extremely good and efficient government department, and they do a very good job of allaying most new investors' concerns anyway. The recent move to reduce corporate income tax has already been well received by the business community. For Thailand to sort of raise its game in terms of competitiveness on a regional and perhaps international level, they need to see sort of continued investment in infrastructure to improve its logistical linkages with ASEAN and beyond, and of course to continue investment in human capital, so raising general levels of education and I think English standards.
When we come back after a short break, Marcus Burtenshaw will give a forecast outlook of the property market in the region prior to the AEC.